Well, Joey, if you're looking for specific info, you can skip to the chapter you want below. In this video, we'll create a new assembly of an active model, replace a grounded relationship with a match coordinate systems relationship, insert a subassembly into an assembly, talk about what a subassembly is. We'll use occurrence properties to configure how a part is displayed at different assembly levels. If you're following the playlist, we'll start off by repurposing parts used in the tower we created in the last video. There's a link to that video in the description. And we'll finish off by inserting the second tower into the assembly. So we're going to start off with the tower that we created in the previous video. To build our castle, we can use most of the parts within this tower as a template to create our castle, so it shouldn't be too much work. We're going to start off with the base plate. We'll want a base plate similar to this, but a lot bigger. So I'm going to click on that, click open. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say save copy as, give it a name, open up the new part. So now that I've opened up that new part, we can go to tools, variables, change the variable table display to structured view, go to peg pattern 1 and change the variables here. NX peg count, we can go with 36, and for NY peg count, we can also enter 36. We'll let our base plate update and just save it. So before we get started modeling our assembly, let's make what blocks we'll need for this. So we're going to need a 4x2 block. We have those made already. We've made 2x1 blocks. We've made the 1x2 counterboard block. Okay, so we're going to need to make a 5x2 by 1/3 height plate. So we can base that on this plate here. So I'm just going to open that part and do a save copy as, and then open that part. And again, go into our variable table and go to peg pattern 1. We're going to change NY peg count to 2, NX peg count to 5, hit save and close that. And now maybe we'll go to save as, and we could do the same with this part. And for this, we're going to make a 3x2 plate. So that part is now open. So I'm going to go to variables, peg pattern 1, and change the NX peg count to 3. And now that's up to date. And we can also make a 2x2 by 1/3 height plate. So again, I'll go to save as, give it a name, go to tools, variables, peg pattern 1, change the NX peg count to 2 and save that part. So I think that's most of the parts we're going to need. So we get started creating our assembly now. The first thing I'm going to do is open up the base plate. Now that we've that open, I'm just going to go to new assembly of active model, and Solid Edge is looking for a template. It's starting off with the default of an ISO metric assembly. I'm going to accept that by clicking OK. A new assembly has been created with our base plate within the assembly. And I've got a funky view going on. Yeah, it's okay. It's cleared itself up. We have here a grounded relationship between the base plate and the assembly. And I'm going to just delete that. I'm going to click OK and just drag this part. I'm going to actually right click on the part, go to show hide component and choose turn on coordinate systems, click OK. And also for the assembly, I want to click on this eyeball next to the coordinate system to turn on the display of the coordinate system. And now I want to match the coordinate system of this part to the coordinate system of the assembly. So we're going to use the match coordinate systems command. I'm going to click on the coordinate system of the part, the coordinate system of the assembly, and they come together, and that part is fully constrained within the assembly. And now that we've done that, I'm going to right click on the part, go back to show hide component, and I'm just going to, I want to turn off the coordinate systems. I can just quickly do that by just clicking on off for all types and click OK. And now that's gone. And I can turn off the coordinate system for the assembly as well. Now I'm just going to save the assembly. Next, maybe it's time to get started with creating our assembly. So I'm going to go to our parts library here. Because I have other parts open we want to use, I'm just going to pin the parts library in place and look at what we have open here. We have the tower open that we created in the previous video. So I'm just going to orient that a little bit. It doesn't seem to want to orient too easily. So I'm just going to drag it into the assembly. Flash fit has activated. I'm just going to press escape a couple of times just to get out of flash fit. and I just want to kind of take stock of where we are with this sub-assembly. So I'm just going to maybe click on this part and click on the hide button, and I'm going to create relationships relative to this block. We want to relate this block to our base plate. I'm going to go here to axial align. I'm going to click on the axis of this cylinder and this cylinder here. Select this cylinder to make an axial align between both of those. And I want to do the same again. Maybe I'll choose this cylinder and this cylinder. So now our sub-assembly has turned around to satisfy that relationship. If I was to drag with a freeform move our tower now, it's free to move up and down, but not in other directions. So we want to add a vertical constraint. And before we do that, maybe I'm just going to click on the base plate here and hide that. And I'm going to create a mate between the bottom face of one of these blocks and the top face here of our base plate. So I've said sub-assembly a few times now, and maybe we should clarify what that actually means. So this tower we've created in a previous video, and it is an assembly where lots of parts are brought together to serve a function. In this case, to build a tower. You're actually able to put an assembly within an assembly in CAD programs like Solid Edge. And when you use an assembly within an assembly, it is called a sub-assembly. We have this tower, and I'm just going to open it up. And where we're using this tower as a standalone assembly, not as part of a larger project like a castle, we want this base plate to be in place. So I can right click on this base plate and choose Occurrence Properties. And we have different options here on what to do with this part. And we have, if it's selectable, if we display it in higher level, if we display it in draft drawing views, reports, physical properties, interference detection, all of these options. I'm going to say for display in higher level, I'm going to say no. So I'm going to click OK and hit save. So our tower here has been completely unchanged within its own assembly. And if we go to our castle that we've begun, and if I hide the base plate, click on this tower. If I right click on it and choose show all, it shows all of the parts except the base plate because we've disabled the view of the base plate in higher level assemblies. Alright, so we can insert another tower now at the front of our castle. So I'm going to drag that in again, and I'm just going to escape out of flash fit. And again, maybe just hide this corner block. Just by right clicking and choosing hide, we'll create an axial align between the cylinder of this peg and the cylinder of this peg. And we can do the same again for the cylinder of this peg and the cylinder of this peg. That all looks good. And we can also choose a mate relationship between the bottom face of this block and the top face of our base plate. Alright, so that's a good start. We've got our two towers there, and we can begin filling in the gaps. In our next video, we're going to build a wall between the two towers. We'll take a different approach to building this wall to earlier videos by using the pattern command in the assembly environment. We'll take a look at the stagger options for patterns and talk about the disadvantages of patterning components in the assembly environment. We'll do some fancy copying of multiple parts within the assembly using the steering wheel. We'll take our first look at the assembly relationship assistant and add a walkway between the two towers. Talk to you in the next one, Joey.